Few stories in bowling are as compelling as A.J. Johnson's. A powerhouse talent with raw skill and relentless passion, A.J. has consistently been one of the most exciting players on the lanes. Time and time again, he delivered incredible performances, coming agonizingly close to victory. But the dream, a coveted title, always seemed just out of reach. In 2023, that all changed. Halfway across the world, in Sweden, A.J. Johnson finally reached the pinnacle he had chased for years. In an unforgettable performance, he captured the title at the Storm Lucky Larsen Masters, realizing a lifelong dream, PBA title. In this interview, we sit down with A.J. to talk about this monumental win, what it meant to him, how it shaped his career, and whether this international title carries the same weight as a PBA championship back home. Let's hear it out.
Not really. I mean, there's always a little bit of extra pressure or extra, motivation or whatever because you're defending a title, especially when you're traveling, internationally. You're going to somewhere when you get the chance like once out of the year. It's a special thing and something cool. Being able to be the first ever back-to-back and to be able to defend that, especially after it being my first one, to be able to then do it again would have been really cool. But I didn't really feel like there was a target. Just there was a lot of attention put on other players here. So to me, it felt like they didn't really care that I was the defending champion. I was just here to bowl, which I wish I would have bowled a little bit better, but I tried to just do everything I could to block that out, to not really worried about that, but it also, it's also still in the back of your head, like, you've bowled so well here, you should be able to do it again, so. To me, it does, yeah. To me, it means the same because there are a lot of really good PBA players that come over here to bowl. And when I won last year, I had to beat Anthony Simonson in the first match, and then Jesper, who are two players on the PBA Tour that have accomplished quite a bit. And then having bowling Jesper in his home country, and there's a little extra into that as well. So the players that I beat to get that title, not to mention in match play, I had to bowl against Chris Prather, who is another accomplished PBA Tour bowler as well. So to get to the title and to eventually become champion, I had to beat guys that have won, a lot of other things and have won things on our tour, who are regulars on the PBA Tour, not just, they weren't just, any of the other international players that were bowling in this event. So to me, it does mean the same. To me, it has the same weight. It has, whether it was here in Sweden, whether it's back home in the U.S., title's still a title. And the guys that I beat to get there made it mean even more meaningful. I think there are, I think to the guys that come here to bowl this event, I think they have the same meaning, or it means the same to them as well, and they hold the same weight. But I did catch a lot of flack from a lot of other players and other people that it doesn't count because it wasn't in the U.S. or it was out of the country or whatever the case may be. But little do they realize that number one, who I bowled to get there, who I beat to win the title, and also the amount of entries that were in this tournament. There was over 900 entries in this tournament last year, and I think they were planning on having more this year. So a lot of people don't realize that, and and other guys just they like to say things to diminish other players to make themselves feel better about themselves, and so it is what it is, and you take it with a grain of salt and say, and you know what you've done, I know what I accomplished, and that's all that matters. I think the biggest difference between international tournaments and PBA tournaments is an international competition you can enter multiple times to try and make the finals, whereas in the U.S. For the PBA tournaments, once you pay for your entry, you start qualifying. That's the only entry you get. So I think that's the biggest difference. There's a bigger pool because of the re-entries. There's a bigger pool of bowlers in international competition versus on the PBA Tour, and it's because of the re-entries. So that's why we get so many entries, and you see so many players from all other countries as well. So the pool of players is bigger over here versus on tour as well. For me, I feel like for me personally, it did change some things. How I kind of perceive things, kind of gave me validity to what I was doing. I also got to bowl the Tournament of Champions without having to bowl the pre-tournament qualifier, so that was nice. But for some of the other things, a lot of I did a few more social media things. Had maybe a sponsor or two that wanted to reach out, wanted to have their logo on, but all that stuff really didn't change much for me, because all the companies that you see on my jersey, they already believed in me before I had won that title, which has been a really nice thing, and I've been very fortunate to have in my career. And then on the other side, a lot of the stuff from other people or way you're perceived, that didn't change for me, because everyone has perceived me to not be at the top, to not be, like I said, I won that title, and everyone is saying, oh well, you won it overseas. It doesn't count, and so that has never changed, because I feel like I get so much more flack for things that I've done in bowling. How far I've made it, the TV shows I make it on, and yeah, I have a lot of seconds. I've made a lot of shows and haven't won as many times as other guys have won. But TV shows are crapshoots. I mean, there's a lot of luck involved. Guys can get lined up and bowl really well. Guys can bowl really good games and get beat by a lucky shot here or there, which has happened to me. But yeah, that part hasn't really changed much. I still get, for lack of better terms, I get shit on quite a bit. Well, first, it's beautiful. I never thought that I could have the feeling that I had when my son was born, until you experience that. It was very special. I love my son to death, and it's a very cool thing now that I have the ability to do. But it also makes it very tough with what I do. So Allie, my girlfriend, works full time, and my job is everywhere but at home. So I have to travel a lot, and it makes it tough to be able to do things with him and try to figure out how he's going to be taken care of. And fortunately, we both have very, very good families that have helped us out. He also goes to daycare as well, and then when I travel, I FaceTime with them. I talk to him, and he's starting to get to the age, or starting to get to a point where he sees me on the phone and he recognizes my voice, and he smiles at the phone, and he knows what's going on. He knows where Dad is, and so that's cool. It's just the part of it that sucks is, you know, it's not that I want to leave. It's that I have to leave. You know, in order for us to be able to have our life, and so that I can provide for him and provide for Allie, I have to travel and go and bowl, whether it's across the world, in the U.S., and, you know, going and doing regional, you know, it's the national tour, and then there's regionals, there's clinics, there's work days, you know, there's all different stuff. So it's just trying to do as much as I can to provide for them and give him the life that I know he deserves.